Well, hey everybody, I'm John Rethlin. This is my review of AEW Dark from Charleston, West Virginia. The worst episode of AEW Dark so far, outside of MJF's commentary and the women's tag match in the ring. This was shit. It was complete shit. I'm not even gonna try to hide. I'm not even gonna try to say, oh, this. No, it was shit. It just was. If I'm gonna criticize WWE for a lot of bullshit that they do, I'm gonna have to criticize AEW for some of the bullshit that they're doing, and the fact that they're gonna shit the bed on this with some of the stuff that they're putting out, and it's a real shame. I know they're dark matches, and it's great that these talents are gaining exposure on AEW's YouTube channel. It's like, hey, you can see these talents and more on AEW Dynamite on TNT. Make sure to tune in. The problem is, outside of the women's match, I really didn't have a reason to want to tune into AEW Dynamite. And I'm speaking as somebody that could just be tuning into AEW for the first time. So if you guys enjoy this stuff, by the way, please leave in the comments. You guys are more than welcome to your opinions, and I love to hear from you guys. But I'm not going to hide it. I basically couldn't stand the show. Now, I watched it because I try to review everything, and also I want to support AEW. I want to support the talents I like. But anyway, former Dasha Fuentes, was co-hosting with Tony Schiavone in the AEW control room. Good for her. She's getting back in the ring. She's doing some stuff. And I've always liked Dasha, and I'm happy to see her have more success. That's good. We get MJF and Excalibur on commentary. I like Excalibur. MJF shined so much on commentary. He really was goddamn terrific. I think they bounce off each other really, really well. MJF clearly was the more boisterous personality of the two, though Excalibur clearly does know his stuff. This was nice. This was pretty good stuff. And if MJF can be on commentary on AEW Dark a little more often, I would be for it. Maybe not every week, but I'd be for it. And I know some people don't think he's the best heel in wrestling. You can argue that. He's up there. Maybe he's not the best heel in wrestling, but he is pretty goddamn good. But they're doing the whole weird face heel dynamic thing with him being Cody's best friend and stuff like that, even though he's a better heel. I mean, Cody and MJF, but I digress. He did great on commentary. We then get to Shawn Spears versus Michael Nakazawa. This was shit. You had Tully Blanchard and Shawn Spears' corner, and you had Aubrey as a ref, and I love Aubrey. I met Aubrey multiple times. Michael Nakazawa could be a nice guy. He could be a very nice guy. He actually could be a good worker. I don't give two goddamn shits because the oil stuff is dumb. It's not even funny. At least to me, it's not funny. If it's funny to you guys, that's great. I just don't find it all that funny, and I found it to be quite embarrassing. And I know that he did that on the first pay-per-view, and he's done that since then. I get it. That's his thing. I don't think it's funny. And Shawn Spears, it pretty much has been cooled off incredibly, quickly. I mean, I don't know. They might be building up another feud a little bit later that I'll get into. But, just the oil stuff and Aubrey. Hey, Aubrey at least was there. Aubrey seemed to have some fun with it. And that was great. Even though she could still have this serious ref face. Thankfully, slingshot like Plex. It was like a slingshot variation into a jackhammer. 1, 2, 3. So not the slingshot suplex Tully Blanchard did. At least Shawn Spears won in about twice the time it should have taken him to beat Michael Nakazawa. So we then get to the second match. Big Swole and Mercedes Martinez versus Sadie Gibbs and Allie. And I like this. The women actually worked really goddamn hard. Now, was it the greatest women's match ever? No. This might as well have been a four-way match again. I think they did a four-way match on the previous episode. They might as well have done a four-way match here because Big Swole and Martinez worked well together. Sadie and Allie somehow won in spite of the fact of how they worked as a team because they didn't work all that well. Now, I think Allie could be a pretty goddamn good heel, and I think Sadie's look screams heel, even though I'm sure she's a nice woman. But MJF at one point talking about how Sadie Gibbs had a mouth guard on or whatever, and that's good or whatever, so she can hide her teeth. He had a lot of quotable lines. And if nothing more, MJF's commentary helped make this episode at least tolerable and at times. But then Allie starts going nuts and getting a little angry and says, this is why I don't trust her. Behind all those smiles is rage. That was some good stuff. Some very good exchanges. Match did drag a little bit. Did go maybe a couple minutes too long, but it was nice. These women got a good amount of time. Everybody got a chance to shine. Swole and Martinez did work better as a team. Gibbs did an impressive Sasuke special. The springboard into a dive outside. Very impressive. I think she really does have a bright future. And I'm really happy that all these women got a chance to be on, TV, on, AEW Dark. Still, it is great. And I hope that Martinez got signed. Hell, I know that Sadie Gibbs and Allie got signed. I hope Mercedes Martinez gets signed. I even hope Big Swole gets signed. Might as well. Let's improve the women's division, get some layers, and have some fun. Gibbs did hit an impressive moonsault, 1, 2, 3. That was some good stuff, and even Allie got a chance to show a little more fire and everything. So it was what it was, and it was pretty good. And then we get it announced that Bea Priestley versus Britt Baker is going to be on the AEW Full Gear card on the buy-in. Look, it's a nice way to hook people into wanting to buy the pay-per-view, but with as personal as this feud has felt, why couldn't you put this on the main show? There were 4 matches. There were 4 matches announced before this match got announced for the main card, and they want people in the U.S. to pay $49.99 for this. Look, the matches hyped are pretty goddamn good, and I'll get into predictions a little bit later. Myself and Durbinator are going to do predictions later today after we do the AEW Dynamite review, but for fuck's sake, they can't be doing this. You can't expect people to spend $50 on a pay-per-view if you're only going to announce 4 matches. It's not WCW, but even their pay-per-views are like, what, $30? 30, 35 at the most. But anyway, we're getting that match. It's good. I just wish it wasn't on the buy-in. But hey, maybe it's gonna entice people, and maybe these women will get some time. Britt has an interview, good promo and everything, good sit-down promo. Does not like Bea. Got upset because of the whole thing where Bea ended up causing a concussion at Fight for the Fallen. It was Fight for the Fallen, right? Where she got concussed. Poor, and I felt bad for Britt. At the time, I was like joking about it. We're like, oh, she didn't know what corner she was in. Oh, she was concussed. Fuck, now I feel bad. But she says at one point of like she goes through some dentistry lingo and stuff like that. I'm not gonna try and quote it because I'm not a dentist. By the way, Britt Baker's a dentist. Did you know? Did you know that? She says that means I could rip your fucking jaw off, Bea. That was good stuff. That was good stuff. This allowed Britt Baker to show some personality. This was fantastic. I was very, very happy that they allowed this to happen. Great. And then we have Jimmy Havoc with an episode of Undesirable to Undeniable. I met Jimmy Havoc briefly at a Defy Northwest wrestling show last year, second indie show I went to. Jimmy Havoc seems like a very nice guy. He also can work. He actually, outside of that hardcore stuff that he does and deathmatch stuff, he actually is pretty damn good in the ring. He just likes the hardcore stuff for whatever reason. But he is a good worker. I've seen it live. I've seen it in other matches. He is a really good worker. But this was good. It was a little brief interview, but it was nice to get these people some more exposure. And then we get to the fucking main event, which is Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt versus Jimmy Havoc and Joey Janela. Apparently Luchasaurus is day-to-day and he's going to return soon. Thank fucking Christ, because then we don't have to see this little shit in the goddamn ring anymore. And look, I'm sure that Marco Stunt's a nice guy. I want to make this clear. Anything I say is about him in the ring. There are plenty of pieces of shit that are still active in wrestling, that used to be active in wrestling, that are way worse than Marco Stunt could ever be. Marco Stunt is never going to be like these people. He's never going to be like them. He's never going to be the piece of shit because he does seem like a genuine nice guy. I don't fucking care because he looks like a little goddamn dweeb in the goddamn ring. And he doesn't look like he belongs. It's embarrassing. It's stupid. I can't fucking believe it. I can't fucking believe that they're spending money on this guy when there are people on the indies way more talented, way more experienced, and way more passionate than this guy could ever hope to be. And sure, he may love wrestling. That's great. You know what I loved? I loved the NBA back when I was a kid, back when I was younger. You know what I couldn't do? Be in the NBA. You know what I couldn't do is do a lot of other things. And that's because maybe I didn't have the drive or whatever. I just didn't have the ability, and that's why this kind of stuff is why I'm afraid that AEW is going to be very niche. And it's going to be a very niche product, and it's not going to extend, it's not going to increase its views or any of that stuff. And I'm not saying that Marco Stunt, the person, is responsible, but just the image of this little 98-pound child wrestling and other wrestlers that are supposed to be professionals actually selling for him, it's embarrassing. It's fucking embarrassing. I can't summarize it any better. It's goddamn embarrassing. Havoc and Jungle Boy essentially carried this. I'm not a big fan of Joey Janela. I'm not. I've seen him twice live at the 5 Northwest Wrestling shows. I wasn't very impressed. Other people like him. That's great. But that's just my take. I'm sticking to it. But MJF does get up one good line about Marco Stunt getting in some offense and says it's like if a squirrel had rabies. That was pretty funny. And we got a staple gun because at one point Havoc brought the staple gun to possibly staple, easy for me to say, Marco Stunt. Havoc stopped him, stapled stapled Havoc in the eye, or like on the eye, and like he was bleeding there. And then thankfully we get an avalanche brainbuster package pile driver thing. We get an avalanche package pile driver variation, whatever. Janela gets the pin on Stunt 1, 2, 3. I also want to address something else. There were people saying, running with a story that Janela injured Marco Stunt. One, I didn't see anything in this match where it happened. Two, I may not like Janela, but I'm not going to blame him for something that I didn't see. And Janela, for all his faults, and he has quite a few of them, like he's not really a very impressive wrestler or anything, and I don't really care for the guy in the ring, he doesn't strike me as somebody that's going to injure people intentionally. He doesn't strike me as a mean-spirited individual, at least what I've seen. So I'm not going to blame him for something unless evidence is shown that he actually intentionally did that. So no, I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon, as much as I don't like the guy. Though, keep Marco Stunt out of the motherfucking ring, because he doesn't fucking belong there. Oh, and then by the way, a little bit later, Joey Janela is confronted by Tully Blanchard while Janela's smoking, and then Sean Spears attacks him and gets a pair of pliers on his tongue. And then that's where we end. So yeah, C-. I'm being generous there, C-. It sounds like I really hated this show. The women's match in MJF's commentary is what kept it above a D. I'm actually increasing it almost a full grade because of that, but C-. MJF's commentary, the women's match, is pretty much the only reason to watch this. But yeah, I just fuck the hell out of that main event. Keep Marco Stunt out of the ring. He's a goddamn embarrassment in the ring, not as a person. But anyway, I'm John Ritland. I'll see you soon.